Bob's Burgers, the show that captured all of our hearts from the very beginning. This is a show that came out of nowhere. Nobody thought it was going to be anything like it is now. Everyone thought, oh, it's just going to be a one and done show, another flop. The animation wasn't fantastic when it first came out, and it was kind of clunky and quirky, but all of that turned out to be amazing. All the characters turned out amazing. The stories are amazing. They're fun every single week. And my personal favorite is the fact that they're on, 8 seasons now? And 9 seasons, something like that. And they haven't lost touch with what made us fall in love with the show. Usually by then, shows are feeling like they got stale and all this. And anyways, I'm rambling. Today, what I have for you is I put together some fan theories for Bob's Burgers. They're all just my personal theories that I'm pretty sure I came up with. I'm not sure if they're out there somewhere. I didn't look them up. I'm not trying to steal anyone's credit. And I'm just going to focus on the main family today. Bob, Linda, Gene, Tina, Louise. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get right into it. This is my Bob's Burgers fan theories. Episode 1. Hope you enjoy it. And number 1, we have our fun-loving, music-loving, fart noise-making little brother, Gene Belcher. This is a little weird because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to choose for him. I have a few different ones that I want to go over, but I think for this video, I'm just going to keep it kind of simple. Something that's a little obvious out there. And I'm going to go with why I think him and Courtney are going to end up together in the future. It may not happen ever in the show. Gene is kind of a free spirit right now, not ready to really settle down. Obviously, he's 11 years old. So, but with that being said, I think that they're going to end up together simply because, not only have they had their history together, obviously, they got together, he dumped her, they got back together again, she pretty much dumped him, it was kind of a mutual agreement, but obviously he was actually into it the second time around. So I think if at any time in the future, if they decide to make it work, I don't think he's gonna be the one to instigate it. I think he's kind of a little too shy to do that, and obviously he doesn't know anything about dating girls. He has sisters, so which that might sound weird, but how does he doesn't flirt with his sisters. So I think that if he just I think if any time in the future they come back together and meet in the future or anything like that, they'll get back together. I think they'll stay together. I also want to point out that their personalities are kind of similar. They're both really bubbly, outgoing, kind of free spirits. They do whatever they both will please to do at that moment. They'll say whatever. Gene will make his fart noises and dog sounds, and Courtney will suck on her necklace and all that stuff. They just do whatever makes them happy for themselves. So, and I see that in both of them, so it makes them feel similar enough to me that they'll end up being together. I mean, not like you have to be the same to be together, but I just feel like they're a good fit for each other. The amount of wackiness and weirdness is there. Plus, they have proven that they do make a good comedy duo, a good team together on air already. So that's number 1. I think Courtney and Gene, destiny? Possibly. We will find out. Alright, moving on to number 2. At number 2, we have Bob. Bob of Bob's Burgers. The not so fun-loving, a little more surly guy. He is still one of my fan favorites, and is he antisocial? Let's find out. So like I said, at number 2, we have Bob. No, Bob. No, Bob.
Oh my
no,
god.
Bob. Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I really enjoy the company of people, which I think is highly ironic considering he owns a restaurant. However, you don't really see him interacting with customers that much, not for lack of customers, because there is times where it's been semi-packed in there, but, he's mostly in the back manning the grill, and Linda's the bubbly one out there. She definitely has one of the biggest personalities in the family next to Gene, and, so I think really he's just doesn't care for the company of other people that aren't his family. Sometimes he doesn't even care for the company of his own family, which he has said before. I think he's just one of those people who likes to take it easy, and spend some time alone, because he doesn't get a lot of time to relax anyways, and when he does get some time alone, he gets to, he works on his models, or he'll buy some inconspicuous helicopter drones and play, he's always doing something in his spare time. But do I think he's antisocial? I think he is, because like I said, he doesn't really enjoy the company of other people. I mean, to be fair though, the company that the company he is around all the time isn't the greatest, I guess. At least from his perspective, he's always got Teddy, who's just kind of wacky and never really has any point. He just kind of floats through life, kind of goes with whatever the family's doing because he's lonely. He's got his kids, which he does get along with, but then again, what grown man wants to hang out with his kids all the time? I mean, obviously he wants to spend time with them. He loves them. But he doesn't really have any friends his own age that they really show often. He has, Walter Russo that he mentioned that's never shown, and his rich friend, I can't remember what his name is at that, but and not only that, then you can have, Mr. Fishoder, who's an eccentric and just straight crazy rich guy, you have his brother Felix, you have Randy, you have just all kinds of different people who just don't, all their personalities, they don't get along. So I guess the company around him really makes him antisocial, because he's not opposed to trying to make new friends, as we saw in that one episode where he invited the archaeologist over and stuff for dinner. So he's not opposed to meeting new people. I just think he's antisocial to the people around him. He doesn't really care for a lot of them, And on top of that, right across the street is his arch enemy, Jimmy Pesto and Trev, always giving him the business and stuff like that. So I'd say he probably is antisocial, but that's only a condition of his company, I guess. The company that is kept around him. And, that'll be it. That's it for Bob. Is he antisocial? I'll leave that one up to you guys, because it's kind of up in the air a little bit. You could make arguments one way or the other. Let me know what you think down in the comments on that one. And then we'll move on to number 3. At number 3, we have the nervous Nelly, Tina. Tina is my personal favorite. I mean, one of them. It is so hard for me to choose a favorite. But at number 3 here, I have, is Zeke Tina's future? Let's talk about it. So people are probably going to be like, what are you thinking? But I personally think this is kind of another obvious one that's been kind of being set up, or at least joked about and hinted at. And I think it's a real good possibility that they could end up together in the future. And some evidence I have for it. That episode where Tina was in the running for a hall manatee, and she had to escort Zeke to the principal's office for trying to steal the mascot uniform. And they obviously it gets out of hand. They go on a wacky adventure, and eventually Tina sees that Zeke wasn't lying about what he intended to use the uniform for, and he says, "Now I have a story to tell at our wedding day. You think I'm not gonna get you, but it's gonna happen, girl." And then Spoiler alert for season 9. This is spoiler alert. I'm saying it now so I don't get in trouble. Season 9. That episode where Henry fakes an alien invasion to Tina and her science fair partner, and Tina thinks the end of the world is coming. She goes running down the hallway, kisses Jimmy Jr., and then she bumps into Zeke, and she's like, you know what, screw it, kisses him too. And then at the end of the episode, he says, I can't wait till the next apocalypse. Am I right, Tina? So, you know, I think if it's not there for her yet, and her, like, you don't see it yet because she's still, you know, madly in love with Jimmy Jr., unfortunately, I think his attraction is starting because he's starting to see that Jimmy Jr. doesn't treat her right, and I think he genuinely thinks she's a good person. Because if you look through all the episodes, all the kids have been mean to Tina except for Zeke. Zeke's never really mean to anybody. He's there with the people who are mean, but he's not ever actually rude to anybody. So, and in the older games, you know, he said Jimmy Jr. don't treat you right, and he was, you know, just trying not to lose the water balloon fight, but I think he meant it. So I think Tina and Zeke, it could be a very big possibility for the future. I know I did one with Courtney and Jean, but I'm interested in seeing opposites attract and unlikely relationships come to fruition and stuff like that. So yeah, that's number 3, Zeke and Tina. Alright, moving on to number 4. And number 4, we have Linda Belcher.
Alright!
Definitely another fan favorite, but like I said, it's going to be so hard for me to actually pick a fan favorite because I love the entire family as a whole. I love pretty much every character. Anyways, is Linda the secret moral compass of the show? I believe so. I believe there's evidence that proves it. Now, don't get me wrong, she likes to get in her shenanigans, and she's very susceptible to doing things with her children, i.e. the ice rink, Mad Max style down in the walk-in, stuff like that. So she does do her wacky things, but she is often the voice of reason behind things, behind Bob, behind the kids and stuff like that. And she's usually the one that has to rule with the iron fist and stuff like that. So I think, you know, on the surface, she's, you know, loud and bubbly and doesn't really seem to have a lot going on. Some people may think she's stupid. I think she's actually smarter than her character lets on. And I think she's the moral compass, honestly. There's no other way to put it. She's always there in the background having something to say, and it's usually the right thing to do. But like I said, there is times where she definitely goes off the rails and does stupid things herself, but what person doesn't? I think all in all, though, she's the backbone of the family, and without her, they would fall apart. Because Bob couldn't handle all the kids by himself and run the restaurant, and stuff like that at the same time. And be it with Teddy, he would just lose it without Linda there. So I think Linda is the stabilizing factor of the family and the secret moral compass, because on the outside it doesn't look like it, but on the inside, if you actually dissect her character, she does care about everybody she meets, and usually just wants what's right for everybody. Even if some of her shenanigans lead her off the deep end, she always has the best of intentions for people in mind. Alright, moving on to number 5. And last but not least, at number 5, we have Louise Belcher. She is quite a little character for only being 9 years old. She's definitely 100% the mastermind of the family, and I think she created her own best friend. See, back in season 4, episode 9, I believe, the episode called Sleepover, Linda invites a bunch of girls from her class to come over and have a slumber party because they're feeling like Louise isn't socializing the way she should be for a girl her age. Well, all the girls come over and she explains to her mother why she dislikes every single one of them and systematically weeds them out so she doesn't have to hang out with them anymore. And by the end of the episode, one girl remains who she ends up having an epic pillow fight with and chasing around a raccoon and all that kind of stuff. And she eventually bonds with her and she ends up staying for the duration of the slumber party. Her name is Jessica. Now, Jessica and Louise seem to have been hitting it off, and every other kid that they interact with or at least acquaintances with have came back in the show at some point. Regular size Rudy, Andy, Ollie, Zeke, Jimmy, Pesto Jr., Tammy, Jocelyn, the list goes on. They've all been reoccurring, and they're not necessarily friends, but they do hang out sometimes and go on adventures together. But now to this episode, Jessica just disappeared. She didn't return. She was just gone. Now, why do I think she was imaginary? Well, there's kind of two different separate reasons why I think maybe she was made up. One was that Linda actually in fact said she had an imaginary friend who used to steal her lipsticks and stuff. And Louise, even though she won't admit it, is very much like her mother. And as far as the way she thinks and stuff like that. And I think Jessica was kind of made up because none of the other girls acknowledge her either. While they're there, she's just kind of in the corner. She doesn't really do much. And she's boring. She's boring. Her parents are osteopaths, I believe they say. And she's, blend into the wallpaper, basically. Now, why do I think that's a reason that she's made up? Well, I'm kind of just deducting it from Louise's surroundings. If you take a look at everyone surrounding her, kind of like Bob and the rest of the girls that came to the party, they're kind of all weird in their own way. And then, if you look at her other company she keeps, her brother and sister, Tina and Jean, they're both really strange, obviously, in their own way as well. And so, I think what she did was create just a normal person, someone she could just connect with on some sort of level. I don't put it past her, especially for her age. But the only thing that could possibly disprove this theory is that Bob does actually acknowledge her and say, call her Jessica and acknowledge that she's there. But I don't put it past adults, acknowledging the fact that she has an imaginary friend and playing along. I have seen that before, but I think she's possibly made up. I think it kind of fits. I think the fact that she's just so normal, she's not annoying, but she's also adventurous, kind of like Louise. She can get stuff done when she needs to, but she's not over the top with anything. I think Louise wants a friend like that, and so I think she created one in the midst of people she didn't really care for as acquaintances. But like I said, this is all just been speculation, just all in my head. This is all just, I'm a huge fan of the show, just watching a bunch, and just my thoughts on it. But yeah, if you like the video, go ahead and leave me a like or something like that, and comment down below what your theories on the show are and what you thought of mine. As always, I'm Tyler, aka Cheesehead300, and I will catch you in the next video. Alright, bye.